Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Papa Bale. Welcome to the channel. Currently, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to. It's going very slow. I mean, it is going. We're at less than half a volt. It is going. We're at less than half volt. All right. We're using BEMF to charge the cap, and there you can see it is charging. This thing will charge stationary though, without anything connected to it, which is kind of funny to me. But I mean, maybe it's the meter itself charging it with the microamp volts or whatever. But right now it is hooked up to this coil with the rainbow stand. Neat. And I kind of see that when you do one BEMF coil, um, putting on a second one is kind of pointless. So far I found, unless the connections here are bad, it doesn't really do much. But this coil right here is 8,888 turns of 32 gauge, and it's lighting this 15-watt light. Pretty stable. I mean, there are some spikes, which cause it to flash. But I mean, this thing is spinning fast enough for there to be like no real pulse. And it's not even, it's going about 1200 maybe. Don't need all that to make it work. But, having all that is more, energy in the capacitor. It's more money in the bank. So, I don't know. We're working on it. And, well, let me just say something real quick about this setup. Without the 32 gauge in it, I fear that a reed switch will not function, and it burns out. You put a resistor on it, it doesn't function at all, or it'll burn it real fast. I mean, I'm up to 1500 ohms, and it's still just frying instantaneously. I forget what I was using it for. Yeah, the reed switch, protecting the reed switch. Since it's plugged directly into the power circuit, if you put a resistor, I mean, seriously, I'm gonna keep going up, see if I can't get it to not fry. Maybe I'm putting it in backwards. Could I be putting it on backwards? All right. I was trying to clear something off my screen, and it just it did not clear off, and it took me somewhere else. That's that's funny. All right, so currently what I'm doing here is I'm charging a capacitor with the BEMF of this pulse motor, this coil right here. I just slide it right on the core there, and it picks up the BEMF and runs it through a rectifier, that little diode right there. And then I put it through a super cap first, because it charges more rapidly because it's so small, basically. And then we run it through the standard 10 right there, 10 volt 2200 micro, and I have a 25 volt 4700 micro. But we're going to start with the 10 because, I mean, look at how slow this is going. There we go. If anybody has any suggestions on how I can speed that process up, please drop a comment. Uh, but what I was thinking about doing, since this works pretty well with the 4 magnet rotor, is to try something a little bigger. And I was going to hook that up because I know the little one works well. The medium size, it's not mediocre, but it's medium sized one works very well as well. We could just take a step up. We'll go here. I really want to do the 14-inch with the amp funnel setup right here. 12 magnet rotor. The spacing is a little bit better for a reed switch on that one because those magnets are very powerful. But I like, this is a success right here. I mean, this right here is 15 watts, and that's coming off of this BEMF coil. Really cool. Been trying to run another pulse motor off of it. For those of you who know and those of you who don't, I've been trying to let the BEMF drive, say this one, slide one of these bad boys on here like this, and this little rotor on here like this. That little thing will spin like the devil. That'll breach, 2,000, 2,500. We get a good amount of electricity going to it. But my problem is that when I set all that up and I try to put the electricity through it, it doesn't function. It needs its own wall hookup or battery to function. And I know that's not right. I just don't know how to bridge this gap right here. Like I said, I know I can light a light bulb. I light a light bulb with this stuff all the time. All the time. I charged a battery with this more than once. And I mean the cap, we're charging a cap right now, but it's like snail pace cap charging. Like I said, if anybody has an idea on how this right here can charge a 10 volt capacitor in a hurry, let me know. Now I was working on this the other day, and I had like a setup where I would just touch it to the thing and it would be instantaneously charged. Not even like going up incrementally, it was just charged. But it was like through the power supply and like directly through the drive current, we're gonna call it the drive shaft. Directly through the drive shaft. Yeah, I'm not getting any comments, so if the comments are coming, I don't know. If there's no comments, then we're good. We're absolutely fine. This works. Sorry for all the shaking here. I shake. I do. So I'm trying to hold the camera. steady. I'm gonna hook up my tripod here and get cracking on setting up. We'll just use the one in the corner since it's really easy instead of using the selfie stick. I might even probably should have been using the selfie stick the whole time. It might be a little bit sturdier. Okay, so we're gonna back it out to right about here. Sorry, I apologize. Thank you for coming. We're charging capacitors here. Anybody got any solutions to the problems that I'm having? Basically saying that it's moving way too slow. All right, here we go. All right, great. So now that the shaking's going to stop, I hope people will stick around for a little bit. I'm kind of new to doing this and doing it on my own, so yeah, I hope that works. Let's clean up a little bit. My fault. I am an avid user. I do suggest that people make up their own minds, though. Unless you're under the age of 18, then you listen to your parents. There are special circumstances where that doesn't apply, but I'm just, just the norm, basic norm. There are some situations that are an exception to the rule. And your parents are, more like me, but not, I'm way better than what I'm talking about. And I'm not better than anybody else, it's just I try. When I see a situation, maybe even just a situation where I can help, I try to help. I do. And the thing is, I make sure, all right, that's 0.04, no, 0.4, and when it reaches 0.5, that would be awesome. But I don't know if I'm going to wait that long. Huh. Let me think here. Oh, this thing, I keep stepping on it. But this is actually going to be for this rotor right here. And the coils will sit on that, and that'll be completely removable. And I'll be able to stop putting holes in my pegboard. So I mean, there are definitely two projects that we can do right now. One is to change the rotor, and the other one is to set up that ring that I just showed you. Anyway, this is a 15-watt light bulb, black light, and the BEMF is lighting that thing up better than the electricity that I get from the magnets charging the say a coil that isn't hooked to the drive. But I mean, different than the BEMF, like having a coil right here. This coil is generating more electricity than this coil ever could. But yeah, because that's brighter and more consistent than, well, and considering, you know, it puts a load on the rotor when you do that. When you charge it with the coil that would be here, it puts a great load on the rotor. But here, let's turn this light off. See, what I hear is that having that light on and having this coil be here will actually increase the speed of the rotor when it's on. Yeah, okay, so this is the amp funnel. It's just a series circuit from the power supply to the power distribution, and then it goes 14 gauge, 18 gauge, 20 gauge, 20 gauge. There's actually a 32 gauge coil inside the 20 gauge, which is much larger than this coil, and then 26 gauge, and then 32 gauge. So it funnels down to nothing, basically. What I'm saying is that when you turn this circuit on, it takes about 5.3 amps. But when it gets to its potential, it's about 0.2, 0.3 amps. So it funnels all the amps out and turns it into speed. And that happens with everything. But if it's all 20 gauge wire, your amps aren't going anywhere. And your speed isn't going to pick up. So they're all different sizes. To simulate a funnel of speed. So here, there's no bottleneck here, but here there's a bottleneck. And in between these two coils, there's a speed boost. In between these two coils, there's a speed boost. Now I only hook up the outside coil with this one because it goes 20, 20, 26, 32. If we just hook up the 32 in here, which we can do now, but it would go from 32 to 32. You gotta kind of keep it in order or it doesn't function the way it's supposed to. And I mean, since it's a series circuit, the more wire you have, the more voltage you have to put into it for it to function properly. Now you don't have to put more power into it. What I did is I got a transformer, and I take what's 25 volts and 0.3 amps, and I put it into the transformer, and I get about 89 volts. So we take at 10 volts to turn on the transformer. And the only way I could figure this out is because the switch was stuck, closed. And the meter here said 5.6, 5.3, 5.3 amps. And that's the only way I knew how much amps was needed to start this up. So what I was doing, I lit this black light with this BEMF coil, totally detachable, not hooked up to anything. just chilling on this core right here. I was lighting that light, and it's a 15-watt light bulb. Cool with the LEDs. Here, charging a capacitor. Let's see where we're at. 4.7 or 2.47. Well, what I'm saying is 0.476, so it's less than half a volt. And this is where I'm having trouble. I'm wondering if I hook the capacitor set up on this side, on the other side, and do the light over here, if I'm not going to have better luck. Because this base of this coil is preventing me from getting it close enough to get a full charge off of it. And it is 20 gauge, so I'm thinking it should either be generating more, or, you know, that's what I heard. The bigger the wire, the more, you know, BEMF generation is going on. So we lift up. This rotor is significant due to the fact that there's a toroid magnet down here in the middle, 4-inch toroid magnet. Pretty powerful for being what it is, ferrite. I mean, it's kind of just there, like almost perfect for like a core. But when we put this on there, these magnets that are in here demonstrate a principle which I used early in my exploration here. See, that is very good. Just kind of floating there. And I don't need another magnet, because those magnets are, you know, they're centered and they're pushing on that toroid magnet. So it's centered now. It is not going to shake the table like it was when I had the magnet on there. I had another magnet on there and I was trying to center it. And I get it really close. I mean, really, really close. I used this acrylic disc with magnets wrapped around it. It's 4 inches big, and it's got a 1/4 inch center hole. So it kept it centered, but it wasn't good enough. It really wasn't good enough. But that's perfect. You can't argue with that. Like this, like so. So what I was thinking about doing was setting this up for, you know, let's go big or go home. Let's do that. And this might frustrate some people watching me do this, because I mean, I shake a lot. There's gonna be, you're gonna watch me trying to clip this, and you're gonna be like, I'll throw temper tantrums too when the wires don't do what I tell them to. I'll be like, hey now, what are you thinking? Talking to me like that. Alright, we are nearing completion here. Get this off. These are all my BEMF capture coils. That's what we're going to call them. And so right now, for the new connection, we want to go AC or DC to start out. Should probably get my headset. Sounds like I need to scream. And that one's got a mic on it. It's hooked directly to my phone, so I'll get that real quick. Okay, so I hope you can hear me better. Let's see. Now, I'm not debating the fact that I'm kind of sloppy. You know, I'm a little bit of a slob, but I'm working on that every day of my life. But, like the things that I have, coils with long ends on them, you get 100 of those together and you got a freaking knot of a mess. It's just terrible. So join me. Here's another. This one's nice. This one's 8,888 turns. And I guessed that amount before I was done repping it. Like halfway before I was done repping it, I'm like, this has got to be 8,888 turns. And voila, the spool was empty at exactly that time, that exact moment. I'm like, I just had a zero barrier moment, man. I'm like, when Bruce Willis was like, we win, Gracie, in Armageddon. Zero barrier wasn't necessarily it was necessarily the point that the asteroid couldn't come through, but in Destiny's eyes, it was the time that he actually pushed the button. You know what I'm saying? It was a moment like that. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Is that luck? Is that luck? Is guessing something like that lucky? I mean, 110%, man. I do not bullshit anybody. I've never lied, I think, maybe twice in my entire life. And I've been able to live like that. Honestly. Now, there are things that I don't know, but I will honestly tell you that, yeah, I'm working on it, but I don't know what I'm doing. And that's kind of like what's going on here. I don't know. I'm depending on the audience. All right, so we're getting to that point where the frustration might start kicking in for some people. Now these magnets are nice, but the ones that I'm used to using are nicer. "14" 40 by 20 millimeters. So it's like 3 centimeters or something like that. Maybe it's 4 centimeters. Anyway, it's some pretty spectacular power. And I like to roll those ones into 12 magnet or 9 magnet rotors. Although I should probably do 4, because when you get them too close, it ends up being just one wall of magnetic energy, and the reed switches don't function very well. Like these glue sticks are like way better than the last batch I bought. Way better. Now, if you can see this wrap that I did around this toroid magnet, I would hook the BEMF coil to that, and that would hit an unbelievable amount of times, or it seemed to. I got up to about 1500 RPMs, so I'm like an additional 300. The rotor. All right, this is a ceramic bearing. All right. You gotta flatten those out. All right, so what I'm expecting is a lower rate of speed. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen though. But we have a fresh start. I think I'm going to actually start the circuit here in the front. Got some good flywheel action on this though. I do think I'm going to have to get my reed switch in close. Unless somebody can pop a comment in how to set up a Hall effect sensor as a reed switch without a transistor or any kind of microcontroller. Just like a switch like that. And we're good. Then we're good. That would be awesome. I do have this little contraption here. I'm not exactly sure what to do with it. But you got AC1, AC2. Looks like a ground. And then you got voltage plus, voltage minus, and 0 voltage. So that's like a neutral, maybe? Anyway, that's a lot of 10-volt capacitors right there. All right. Let's get it. Looking at it like that. All right, now what may be more useful for the bigger ones is using transistors, honestly. Here we go. All right, let's watch how far that one goes. Will I organize a little bit? There's the idea of a clip is kind of a joke when doing this stuff. Now I wish I could just set up that coil at a time, but the 14 gauge coil will not really work by itself. Wow, that picks up speed? What's going on with that? Is it that toroid magnet on the bottom? Is it being charged up by the magnets or what? I think that's pretty awesome. All right, so we'll start here. See, I got all these little nipples where the glue is going through the holes. Just gonna take out those little bumps. Try and get a flat surface. Yeah, this glue is way more hard to work with. It's unfortunate. Because I could clean off the bases, the glue on the base here. That one came off kind of okay. All right. Yeah, I was using a Hall effect and the transistor. I hooked one up to the 26 gauge coil that I have, and it worked okay. What the hell? You know, um, it's all right. It's like, you know, molting or shedding skin. Give it a couple seconds here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Now we're going to do the 18 gauge. Yeah, I know. It's kind of like no other presentation you've ever seen before. I don't know. I'm comfortable, so that's what matters to me. And it's like late night with Papa Bale. It's time to have a conversation. You're looking for the next innovation. I don't know. We'll see what goes on. But I think, me personally, I think it's pretty much all been done already. The ones without cores can be slightly closer. I'm trying to keep it simple. So now we're going to take this one. See, now we have an opportunity to get everything in the order that it should be in. Because the last time I did this, it wasn't. We're going to do a half moon amp funnel. No, because we need the 38. Let me think real quick. We got this, that. I don't know. I think I should put, oh, this is fine. Kind of want to get the ones with cores equal distant as well. Looks about right. This is a totally different positional setup that I'm doing here, so it's all new to me. I know what worked before, but it was on a very small rotor, so I don't know. Let's see what happens. At least it's better than me carrying the phone around, shaking all over the place. So I think what I can do, 18, 20, maybe not. We'll see if I gotta swap all that. Put the 20 here. Like a 28 over there with the 26 and the 32. Yeah, I think I'm gonna lift this one up. I'm gonna put it right here. Now, I run the amp funnel with a trigger coil and a transistor, and it worked okay. I mean, it wasn't like how fast it goes with the reed switch, but it was okay. And it worked. I mean, it worked the first time I tried it. It was great. Well, I seriously feel like that is picking up speed, like really, but I might just be out of it. And there's a lot less lag today. Now, see, now, bear with me. I'm going to swap those two. Just bear with me. Keep on, like, just having different ideas. Man. was good to get it right before I turn it on, you know, the way I feel it should be. So that's what I'm going to do. You would argue that I should have done this before I started the live stream, but I didn't even start it until I started the live stream, so that's kind of a moot point. And I was I wanted some assistance here. That's kind of why I did it. Now this will work, and the cores that are involved will be at the cardinal directions instead of kind of random and all over the place. Now there's two cores on it, it's still spinning. I know it doesn't look like it's picking up though, not this time. I feel like I need to move that back. I shouldn't be shaking like that. Yeah. Ooh. Get that in the trash. Just need to back it out a little bit. I hope this is enough glue. That's probably gonna pop, but I need to get a glue stick in here. Just leave it like that for a while. Maybe it'll dry up and be good enough. All right, so now 26. And this is where it might get a little weird. We can either put it here, or we can put it on the cardinal direction, but then, see, if we put it here, then the 32's got to go in here somewhere. And I guess it's going to be okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's going to be all right because wow, that doesn't feel very connected because it's about the connection. And it is about the position too, so I don't know. We'll go here. We'll get that 28 involved. Now the cores are not going to be in the cardinal positions, which is, I guess, okay. It might be a little off balance. get back to charging that cap. Yeah, this shouldn't be shaking like that. Yeah, totally not enough glue. All right, we're almost done. We're almost ready to turn on the power. Since there's been such little involvement, I feel at liberty to, do whatever. Hmm. 2832, here we come. Now the 28 gauge coil is 1,111 turns. This little bad boy right here. How am I gonna get see that this core in particular is causing me some off balance. And they're pretty much equal distant. We got a 1 millimeter coil with a core in it. All right. So we're like remaking it the way it should have been when I made it the first time. Will it work as well? I have no idea if this is going to work at all. Should work. But I have had a lot of things that should have worked that didn't. And that just didn't work. Not theoretical either, like things that should have worked and they just didn't work. Like BEMF. Sometimes it's on, most of the time it's on. There are some times when that light will not light up. It just won't. And everything else is working. Someone saying your connections are bad or something. No, it's just not working. Maybe after the 14th time after being totally crazy about it. Maybe. Checking the connections 14 times is insane. And that's just because, that's the only thing it could be, is one of these things isn't hooked up right. And the more complicated it is, the harder that thing is going to be to find. If you know something about it, you can narrow it down, but still, man. Try and keep it as simple as you can. And make it only as complicated as it has to be. Now I know that's kind of like a odd-sized coil, but Wow, I wonder how long it's actually taken me to do this. I hope it's not more than a half an hour, 40 minutes maybe. Now we got these onset instead of offset, so then 38. We're doing the half moon solar eclipse style amp funnel right here. This looks dope. And bam, our little 32 gauge. Now I have, this is awesome because I have 38 gauge and 42 gauge wire, and I'm gonna make some BEMF coils that are gonna light up Manhattan, man. They're gonna 3,333 turns. You wouldn't believe it. Look at that. That's tiny for that many turns. All right, so we're gonna set it up DC. You want to do rectifiers in between each coil. It's gonna be twice as many connections though. But yeah, I think I want to do a DC. All right, so right now, currently we have the power supply and the power distribution hooked up. And I'm going to make the first positive connection. So from the power distribution to the coil is DC automatically because that's what came from the power supply, DC. Then we hook a rectifier up. I got the 1000 volt 3 amp rectifier. We're going to hook it into the positive. And in my experience, the positive end is always going to be the end that you started with. The end that is towards the center of the coil. And I always mark mine with tape, so just so there's no confusion. And in these green ones, it's the one that's on the inside of the hole, because that's how I clamp it down. All right. So we got 14 gauge, 18 gauge hooked up. That's good. Watch it just totally not work. And I wish I could get an explanation if something like that happens. Just looking if there's any lying around. Got these older ones. Now I got some shotkeys coming in the mail. And I'm hoping that that will allow me to capture more of the spike on the BEMF or the reverse flyback spikes in the capacitors. Oh man. got big, clumsy hands. I can't, like, to get on the transformer, you know, there's a little screw there that you can adjust the voltage. You can imagine me trying to mess with that. I'm like, yeah, I just started this new project. You want to see the tools I got to use? And you pull out one of those little Allen wrenches that's for the nuts on one of these flanges right here. And you're like, yeah, look at that. It's like, no. It's, me, and I don't know what it is. I think, you know, I love this stuff. I love watching stuff spin. I like kind of understanding what's going on without having too much knowledge of what's actually going on. So I know that this is a magnetic induction motor that involves rapid switching on and off of the circuit that produces the induction, which is when the permanent magnet reaches to the side of the electromagnet. The most thrust is induced, the most induction occurs on the edges. Not like right there on the hammer, which, you know, we'll see how it goes. And I might have to hook all the ones without cores offset to make it function better. All right, so we are here. We're almost ready to fire it up. And I'd say that's pretty good timing, honestly. If it works and everything works out. Because I believe there's more than just, you know, magnetic flux. And what I'm saying by more than just a magnetic flux is that it goes in more than just one direction. It is perceived and ingrained and pulsed in more one direction. It pulses outward, it pulses inward. It pulses from front to back. All that stuff is going on. So front to back, inside to outside. You know, it's all happening. How do I know? Because the wire is a cylinder. Or of some kind. A round wire is a cylinder. Of course, you can have square wires, but then that's just a square cylinder. So, I mean, if we want to beat around the bush and, like, split hairs over, like, that kind of stuff, that's just weird. I don't know, I haven't even looked to see if anybody's watching, so I will make a recap on this. We're going to try charging the capacitor. All right, we are so close now. We just need to hook up the 32 and the reed switch. We got it. Perfect. Linked up. all my 32 gauge coils like break at the last second. So the ends are like always really short. All right. Now, I don't know if it's essential. I don't think it is for the reed switch to have DC. But we're going to do it anyway. No, wait a minute. Can't. Because we're out of connections. So we're going to go here. Down to here. Someone's at the door. All right. I'm back. Sorry about that. All right. Yeah, whenever somebody like does that and says, "Oh, there's somebody at the door," usually when I'm watching somebody that's doing that, there's usually police at the door. I don't know. It's just a common occurrence. All right, let's see. Here we go. All right, we got liftoff. See how long it takes to amp up here. We got 11.6, 5.5 amps. finding that sweet spot's kind of difficult sometimes. So I'm going to get the camera here and I'm going to show you the top-down view. If you can't see it already. And this is the DC version. I think it would work very much better with a Hall effect sensor. But I know that if I do a transistor and a Hall effect sensor, all these coils attached, that it's going like nowhere fast. Because I have tip 42s and they are tip 142s, and it'll run like this or worse. It's pretty smooth, it's not going very fast. That is a series circuit though. That is one wire basically that gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until it gets to here. And by then it's now I'm wondering, just hear me out. If we go straight from 14 gauge to 32 gauge, what'll happen? This is just like slowly stepping it down. What do you think will happen if I do that? Something's going to melt. That's what I think. Something's going to end up melting. Now, go from like 20 gauge to 32 gauge, or 26 gauge to 32 gauge. I think that'll be a lot better than doing that 14 to 32. And just having the two coils. But that, I'm going to do that another time. This is good enough for me. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to get my BEMF coils hooked up. See if it's even going to... See if it's even going to go. All right. I might do another one of these later on today. Check the time. 12:44. Where I'm at. Bam. All right. Now, why don't we hook, I don't know, let's hook the light up first and see if everything's working. See, so this lamp is basically, I cut the plug off, and that's that. get 2 clips. And from what I gather, because there's 12 magnets on that rotor, it's never gonna get going as fast as the 4 magnet rotor. Never. And if it did, it probably wouldn't be a good thing. Yeah, we're good. Kinda. That's bright. The spikes are higher, but the constant energy is not as good. Maybe it's because it's farther away. Maybe because it's more magnets. Sure. There's another thing that I could try real quick. Putting it on that core. Oh, come on. This one's got nothing. So I'm going to say, I may even go as far as to build an entire series of coils made out of 26. So like 12 pounds. 26 gauge. Yeah, I'd say this is definitely not as powerful as the small rotor by any means. Alright, so there is definitely one more thing I want to try, and it's a reduction in wire. So we got two 20 gauge coils. We're going to take one of them out. We're going to take the 28 gauge coil out. I mean, it looks cool in being all half moon and shit, but I mean, so we're going to actually going to take this one out. one was easy. That one worked out pretty well. Just throw those over there for now. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I'm doing better than I've ever done right now with explaining about what's going on and doing whatever. So if people are watching, people aren't, thank you, or come and join us. Usually I get all caught up in what I'm doing, and I really haven't done that this time. And nobody is commenting on what's going on, so I said, it gives me freedom. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna get hooked up. Yeah, 26 gauge sounds like it's gonna be the winner. And yeah, I feel like maybe just a whole shebang in 26 gauge. Man, how some of this stuff gets where it gets, I don't even know, but all right, let's give it a whirl. Maybe we'll get some more speed now. Who knows? That BEMF is a lot brighter. A lot brighter. So the less wire, the better it's going to be. But I think the funnel is sound in principle. It's just, you know, in order to give it the right amount of speed, the inductance or whatever has got to be correct. Therefore, the length of the wire's got to be right. Like, you know, it's really not that great. But our capacitor is charging a lot more rapidly. Actually, let's see here. This one. Tell what's what. I think this is. Now I got the positive hooked up to the super cap, but I don't know where the negative is supposed to go. like the negative of the regular cap, where does it go? I mean, and then this is the regular cap charge. It's not doing very well. Yeah, that's going a little faster. But we're at like 0.6 of a volt. It's not a complete circuit. I don't understand why the charge is going up. It's not a parallel circuit or a series circuit. It's like a half of the series circuit that has no closed, not a closed circuit. So I guess it charges in the open circuit too. I wonder what would happen if we took that 20 and my transformer coil out of there. Yes. We got this. See, and then we force like a larger bottleneck. I was just seeing, the principle of sound. It's sound. Now we're gonna try, let's, juice it up a little bit. Right. Okay, let's take this over here and put it away for now. How did this happen? How is this already hooked up? Look at that flywheel action. Looks like that one wasn't even hooked up. That's weird. Looked like the 20 was good. All right. Well, I think I'm going to do another live stream later on tonight. And thank you all for tuning in. Have a great time. I'll check you later. get a. That's pretty cool. All right, bye now.